Your judo sucks because you're doing too much goddamn randori. So watch this video and find out why. What's up guys, Nguyen, OG Fitness. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new, this is a channel about fitness for martial arts for older guys. So I'm 44 years old, black belt in judo, blue belt in BJJ. Been doing martial arts my whole life. Okay, so today in this video, we're gonna talk about why your judo sucks because you do too much randori. I know that sounds a little bit crazy, but bear with me, it's all gonna make sense. So I'm gonna read to you guys the comment that, that prompted this video. So one of the boys in the community, Picante Chilada 9308. Okay, great content as always, OG. Would you say doing randori every class for 1/3 of the class time, 30 minutes is a good training method for casual 30 plus practitioners? Okay, so let me just address that right away. It depends. It depends on how fit you are and of course how hard you go. So of course, if you're not fit, then doing 30 minutes of randori after every class, that's gonna be a lot, man. It's gonna be too much, and the risk of injury and all that is gonna be pretty high. And also, how hard are you going, right? Like if you're going really hard, yeah, most likely it's not gonna be very sustainable and you can get injured. So I think that would be too much. Okay, let's continue with the comment. I am currently an orange belt and found that doing randori each class gets tiring, as I also train BJJ and wrestling as well, which starts to demotivate me from training. Well, yeah, I get that. So if you're doing judo, you're doing wrestling, and you're doing BJJ all in 1 week, and you have to roll or spar or randori, whatever, at the end of each class, that's a lot. That's like our buddy here didn't mention how many times he's training each discipline, but even if it was only once every week, even if it was one time BJJ, one time judo, one time wrestling, that's still a lot, man. That's a lot. So of course, if you're rolling or doing randori after each class, it's gonna add up. And yeah, because these are very physical sports, man. Like randori, it takes a toll on your body. It consumes a lot of energy and all. So I would definitely think that it would be too much. Okay, my wrestling coach makes going live as optional, and I am aware that rolling is essential for BJJ. Okay, so let me touch on this. Your coach is smart. He's actually very smart. And funny story, but before I left Montreal, at my club, at my judo club, there was wrestling available as well. There was a Russian coach that was giving the wrestling classes, and all we did is drill. We drilled a lot, and he even spoke to one of my buddies and told him, yeah, once a week, that's it, and it's not even, and it could be once every 2 weeks too. It depends on how you're feeling and all that, but once a week, maybe even once every 2 weeks is fine, And here's the thing with randori, guys. When you do randori, for the most part, you're just using the tools that you currently have. So if you're a beginner, most likely your tools aren't that sharp, aren't that good, and you probably don't have too many of them. So what you're doing is you're just going to be using those same tools at the level they're at over and over and over again. So it does make you better in certain regards. It makes you better at randori, at fighting, right? To a certain degree, because then Shiai competition is completely different. Not completely different, but there's a big difference. So you're actually not developing your skills. So that's why when I say randori is making you suck, it's because, come on, like if all you do is you're not adding tools, you're just using the ones that you have, the tools that you have that suck anyway, you're just gonna get better at using sucky tools, and that's gonna limit your progression. You'll never really get better as opposed to somebody who focuses on adding tools and sharpening them and having a strategy. And so that means somebody who spends more time perfecting technique, perfecting strategy, and drilling a lot, right? So that's actually the key to getting better a lot faster. It's not just Randori, Randori, Randori. Man, I've seen guys who've been doing Randori, for like 2-3 years, and they're still the same. They're still the same fighter. So that doesn't make sense. It means that while it's very fun, but it gets funner if you actually get better. So get better by doing less Randori. Okay, moving on. Yes, so in BJJ, yes, rolling is essential, but you gotta roll light, man. You gotta roll light. And when I say light, if you're a beginner, because we don't know if El Picante here, Chilada, is what level he's at in BJJ, but I'm assuming for now that, it's more beginner, right? So like blue belt or, white, blue, somewhere there on that spectrum. And most beginners don't go light. Even when you're thinking light, then you should go probably 2 to 3 times more light. It doesn't mean that you can't be quick, right? And it doesn't mean that you can't go grab onto something and actually go for it. But I mean, you take it easy on the submissions. You fight hard possibly for positioning, right? Not all the time, not like nonsensical way, but I mean, it's kind of gonna happen. So all I'm saying is that whatever you think is light, if you're a beginner, you're at the beginning of your journey, probably 2 to 3 times lighter. Don't be spazzy, like be smooth about it, Beginners tend to be spazzy, so if you can take the spazziness out, be more smooth. Yes, go for what you want, try to pass, try to take the back, try to do an arm drag, try to go for a submission. But when you go for submissions, guys, don't crank on the submissions. That's just a little side note there, for etiquette, dojo etiquette, and of course having partners want to train with you again, because if no one wants to train with you, you're gonna suck a long time. Okay, and also what you want to do is, like, if you're gonna roll every class, you gotta go light. Go with guys who are lower level than you. Now, that's usually a problem if you're a beginner, because you're already at the bottom of the barrel, so to speak. So maybe go with somebody lighter than you, and slower, and you can tell that he's a little bit less skilled, so that you can think and actually work on your technique, work on your strategy, try things, and once again, take it easy. But you have to have somebody to show you how it's done if you don't have any experience when it comes to like taking it easy, right? Okay. Once in a while, you go with somebody your level, because if you go up against somebody your level, it's gonna be a fight. It's gonna be like a hard Randori, essentially, because you both want to beat the other person, and if you're at almost the same skill level, then yeah, it's going to be a fight. So don't do that too often. I would say for the most part, maybe 80% of the time or 90% of the time even, you go with people who are a little bit not as good as you, not as skilled, or at least a lot lighter, so that you can handle them, so you can really practice on technique. Okay, and your body will thank you for this. Okay, so let me go back to the comment here. Okay, on the other hand, I have seen other dojos in my area that only have Randori class once a week, which appears to be a better approach in my point of view, as other classes during the week are more technical focus with no pressure of doing Randori. Would love to hear your take on this as a newborn black belt. Congrats. Thank you, my friend. So for those of you guys who don't know, I got my black belt recently this year in June, and it was 18 months it took me to prepare for that exam. A bunch of my partners, my first partner dropped out, and then after that, my second partner, we trained together, and then he got sick, and then I had to wait again. It was like the exam was always 6 months apart. So if you miss one black belt exam, you'd have to wait 6 months and so on. So I missed it twice. So I ended up preparing for my exam for 18 months, which is way too long. Anyways, I digress. Okay, so to get back to this point here. Yes, so I've already answered for the most part all of the questions, but there is something that I want to touch on. Oh, let's just circle back to Randori once a week. Yes, once a week, guys, once a week. And this is true across the board, across all combat sports, boxing, wrestling, judo, and what else? What other combat sport is there? Whatever. You guys know what I mean, okay? Or even Muay Thai, right? Kickboxing. Once a week hard sparring at most, and it depends on how that sparring goes, and it depends what happened during the week as well, how hard you trained, if you accumulated any kind of injuries, did you recover properly from all your workouts and all that, right? And then if you're up for it, you do it once a week, okay? And then depending on how that went, like if you incurred a lot of damage during that Randori session, that sparring session, that hard Randori hard sparring session, do not do it the next week. It doesn't have to be every single week, but yes, once a week or once every 2-3 weeks, whatever, it doesn't matter, right? Like you have to do it, but you don't have to do it as often as people think, right? As fun as it is, you are actually making yourself suck for longer. You're slowing down your progress because you're doing too much Randori. You gotta think. Fighting is a thinking man's sport. You gotta think about how you approach this, and you gotta get better technically, right? And strategically, and have tactics and all that. And of course, you have to test them, and you have to work on them in Randori, but you can't be doing Randori every single day thinking you're gonna get better. Like, yes, you will develop a certain level of toughness, which is fine, but I mean, we could do that without damaging your body and actually making you better. So that's just my take on it. Now, during Randori time, what to do? It's time for Randori. It's the last 30 minutes. That's usually what happens for those of you guys who don't know yet. It's always at the end, right? So last 30 minutes, let's go, let's roll, let's do some Randori, let's do some sparring and all that. Now, what can you do during that time? Well, I would suggest talking to your coach when the time comes or before class. And you explain to them, hey, would it be okay if I leave? So these are your options: leave, stretch, or practice technique. Okay, so leave meaning that, well, you just leave. You say, okay, well, that's enough for me. I gotta go, and you pack up and you leave. Obviously, talk to your coach before. Don't just leave the class, because that's a little bit disrespectful. Yes, we are adults, and yes, we do what we want to do, but we have to respect our coaches. So we talk to them and tell them, hey, I'm done for today, really tired, whatever, and I gotta go. That's it, right? Or you can tell them the truth, like, hey, I don't feel ready for Randori yet. Is it okay if I just leave? Or sit out, and you could sit and watch too. Oh, that's another option. Sit and watch. Okay, leave or sit and watch. Okay, next thing, you could sit down. Oh, if you're gonna sit and watch, stretch. Okay, so we'll bundle those two things in together. Stretching and watching, you do that at the same time. Okay, if you're gonna sit down and watch the fights, then you can stretch, or you could just sit down in your corner and stretch, whatever. But stretching is good. You want to be as flexible and as strong as possible for all these combat sports. And the thing is, this is going to carry over into everyday life. If you're fit for martial arts, you're fit for life in general. Life as in, doing normal stuff like cooking, grocery shopping, I don't know, like moving your couch, stuff that some people might find hard to do as they grow older, which is a reality, but something that could very easily be avoided. Okay, the next thing you can do is grab a partner and practice technique. So if you're BJJ, you can go and drill in a corner. Obviously, talk to your coach about it, ask him first for permission. Usually, they're super cool about that. Or if you're in judo, grab somebody and a crash mat and start doing throws. Bam, bam, in your little corner. If you have space, if you have a crash mat, and of course, if your coach is okay with it. Most coaches, very cool, very understandable. And so you could do that instead of doing the actual Randori. Okay, so those are your options. Guys, if you like the video, please subscribe to the channel and do all the cool stuff that you could do, notification bell, like it, comment, and all that. Let me know what you think. Does this make sense to you? Does it not make sense? What do you guys think? Randori, does Randori at this point, do you feel that, it's as fun as it is, it's maybe why you still suck, so you could suck less. Anyways, that's it for now, guys. Love you very much. Peace.